Hello fellow gamers and welcome to a new installment of Crab Digging Investigations. Let's take a look at Mutant Rampage Bodyslam, a game I personally have mixed feelings for. It got released back in 1994 and was developed by Animation Magic. They made this game after their first two games, Link the Faces of Evil and Zelda the Wand of Gamelon, so expect some stellar animation work. Seriously, who came up with their name Animation Magic? If one thing is the worst about all of their games, it's the animation. There's nothing magical about it, unless an elephant has drawn it or something. Something this game had stacked against it from the start was that it came out at a bad time. I don't know about you guys, but back then I was totally hooked on Streets of Rage 2 for the Sega Mega Drive or Genesis for you Yanks. That game was just awesome. But following the success of games such as Streets of Rage or Final Fight, a series I personally don't find that great by the way, we got a lot of beat 'em ups. So there was a lot of competition, and when you bring such a game to a system that's clearly not meant for such games, you'd have to wonder who'd go for it. There's a weak story, short story shorter, the world's gone to hell and the mutants have taken over. It's all brought to us through those god-awful animations again, although admittedly they do look a bit better than those in the Zelda games, but that's not saying a whole lot. I also wonder if they really had a general consensus in the team when making up the story. The intro names like Three Causes Why the World is So Messed Up.
The year is 2068. Things have changed. The Millennium Wars ruined the world's cities. The Grey Tremor Plague of 2017 reduced the population by a third. Radiation from the Thanatos meltdown radically altered the gene pool. It's a mutant! Technology advanced. Bioengineers have created animal-human.
It's kind of depressing really. Ah well, at least they sort of predicted the rise of the internet alright.
The Cybernet, a fiber optic communication network, links everything. The rage of the Cybernet is Bodyslam.
So the new rage of the internet, Cybernet, is Bodyslam. A tournament in which mutants beat each other to a pulp, I think. It's never really explained what this tournament is, what the prize is or how it came to be, apart from the manual saying that mutants thought it to be a fun idea. But it seems that 3 humans are here to win, which call themselves the neutrals. These neutrals are of course the playable characters. They also lack any backstory or personality for that matter. When you open up the options menu, you'll find that the game is quite customizable. You can choose from 3 difficulty settings, set the amount of lives and also adjust music and sound levels. That may not sound like a whole lot, but for its time and certainly on the CDI that's pretty impressive. There's also a save feature. The game generously gives you 5 whole slots. I can't imagine anyone actually using all 5, but it's good that it's there nonetheless. So on to the gameplay itself. The game is divided into 4 tiers that scale up in difficulty. Each consists of 3 levels to do in the order that you so choose, except the last tier, which only has 1 level. Each level has multiple screens to go through and an end boss on the last screen. At the start of the level you get to pick which fighter you'll fight as first. Notice that all 3 fighters have the number of lives you've chosen, so choosing 7 lives actually gives you 21 lives total to work with. Sweet! Gameplay itself is surprisingly responsive for a CDI game. Most of the moves you want to do, you do. You can pull off a basic set of combos with button 1, jump with button 2 and use a special which takes a bit of your life with button 3, which means button 1 and 2 together. There's also a jump kick of course and a jump special and a super special which takes like half your life away, which is total bullshit. If you don't have enough life for the specials anymore, you instead do a kick. It's too bad you can't normally pull this off since it's quite effective because of its range. There are also grapple or throw moves if you stand next to an enemy. Along the way you'll find 1-ups and food to replenish your life. Now first of all, I never saw how the whole eating chicken from the street refills life thing worked out. If anything, I'd think that make me really sick. So it's good to see that apart from the occasional ham on the street, the game also has some beer. That at least makes some sense to me. If I take a big enough beer, I at least think I can take on the world. Of course the game has to go overboard with weirdness again by also introducing escaping fish, eyeballs and not really sure what this is, but it tastes good. Another thing about food, You better not let it lay around or an enemy that's hurt will snag it. Yeah, that's right, enemies will eat the food and refill their life. An idea that can be pretty annoying at times, but also pretty original, and I kinda like it. Now, apart from extra lives and food, you'll also find tag spots. On there you can swap your fighter out for one of the other two. Those not in battle will slowly replenish health. I actually think this is a pretty cool concept. I can't really think of any other beat 'em up that has this. Certainly not back then. It's a neat way to spare a life by swapping out a badly hurt fighter for a fresh one, or just be cheap and use a super special from one of the fresh ones and swap them out right afterwards. Let's look at the heroes for a second now. You've got the Mr. T wannabe, except there's apparently no bling bling in the future anymore. Then there's the chick that's supposed to be the hot girl, I suppose. And you got this big ox that doesn't look much human at all. Seriously, is he sure he's in the right team? Look at him, he's massive. They differ a bit in moves and mainly speed, but it all doesn't differ that much really. Then you've got the mutants. Basically they're all humans crossed with different animals. I do have to give the creators credit since there are so many different muties to beat up. Pretty much every level has new ones, and yeah, some do come back from previous levels, but you just keep seeing new ones. And in a genre where palette swaps are way too common, this is pretty cool. Sure, you'll still fight the same lot a lot on one screen, but at least they change it up every screen. And boy, do these mutants look weird. They don't differ as much in attacks, although some do have some of their own attacks, and some will just lose their head over it. Yeah, now I got your head, and I'm gonna make you eat your own ass, sucker. The women in the game just look downright scary though. They attack in weird ways too. Wow. This must be the only game where coming into contact with large breasts actually decreases your life bar. Bosses aren't too different from regular enemies and don't put up much of a fight overall. Then again, even regular enemies can seriously kick your ass. The game is a bit unfair, your reach is way too limited and enemies can hit you way too easily. And don't even get me started on those damn flying enemies. They are the worst. You have such a hard time hitting them. You need to be perfectly aligned before attacking and then stand still, jump, attack. Most of the time, those little bastards are way faster than you. The sprites themselves look kind of muddy and out of place on the backgrounds. I'm not really sure how to explain it, but yeah, you can see it for yourself I guess. The music is alright, not great or anything, but still decent. Now the sound effects. They seriously suck. Really, it's like they got some free sample pack and just put stuff in. Most sounds make no sense and just sound out of place. Hear me jump. Once you've beaten all 4 levels you get a lame ending. Afterwards you can do an extra stage. This is pretty much a boss rush, but it also features clones of the neutrals. A nice addition. In the end the game does do some things right and actually has a few good ideas. But it's so bland, uninteresting and frustratingly cheap, I can't really recommend it. It also misses some features you'd expect in any beat-em up from that era, like a 2-player mode and a scoring mechanism, but it is still the best beat-em up on the CDI. But seeing as it's the only beat-em up on the CDI, that also makes it the worst I guess. On other systems you've got far more enjoyable games. See it as a tomato, a fine delicious vegetable, or fruit if you want to be botanically correct. But bringing that to a barbecue where there's also chicken and beef, it won't find much popularity anymore. People might still like it, but they got something better to satisfy them. At least it's not a rotten tomato, but no golden turd neither. Well, with that we end this episode. I hope you enjoyed it again, and until next time, take care.